Let me ask one question. How long are you able to control how long is the aerial time of flight?
Yeah, so the hopper that we're flying on our first mission weighs 32 kilograms. With the fuel that we have, we could fly, if you did a single parabolic trajectory, we could fly probably 10 kilometers away from the.
But are you able to define a priori, I want to fly just, let's say, 1 kilometer?
Yes. So we predefine based on imagery that we get on the way down where we want to hop to. And then essentially our plan is 5 hops over 5 days. So we will plan a hop, do that hop, take measurements, make sure everything's good. The next day we'll do the second hop, etc.
Flexibility. One question there.
Also regarding the hopper, as you said, 3 to 5 days. Does the system survive the lunar night, or is it constricted to just day?
Now, currently on our missions, we do not intend to survive the night. We are looking at surviving the night on future missions. At this point, though, there's no easy way to do that, short of batteries, the very big batteries. This is a South Pole mission, so it is quite possible that on future missions at the South Pole, when you only have very short duration night times, that you could survive. We are doing a test on our IM-1 mission where we're surviving into the night. On purpose, we added some extra batteries just to see how far we can get into the night and see what happens. And then our intent on that first mission and all subsequent missions is to turn it back on after we come back out of the night and see if it actually comes on. We don't expect that it will, though.
Okay, Bernard Frank on Mars. For Rachel on Trailblazer. From L-Cross, we had evidence from the plume that there was eventually also some carbon gas, CO2, maybe aromatics. So did you see if you would be able to detect CO2 ice or even aromatic carbon?
Yeah, I mean, we do have the spectral resolution and range to get some of those bands, carbon organic bands. So if they're there,
in terms of sensitivity,
and the spectral resolution to do that. So yeah, in the permanently shadowed regions, we'll definitely be looking for that as well.
Excellent. Astrobiology of the lunar poles.
Okay. Sorry, I have one question from Agnese Caramanico for Kerry. What kind of parameters do you and your team use to consider more for the selection of the site?
Yeah, we've primarily been looking at the amount of boulders and craters because obviously we want to limit the number of hazards. We've been really focusing on slopes less than 10 degrees because we want to be able to traverse very easily around the landing site. But we've also been considering illumination because we want to be able to operate for as many Earth days as possible. And so that played a huge role, and as well as the thermal conditions.
We have time for another question.
Yeah, one question for Trent. How much mass is allocated for the hopper for the payloads? I mean, out of the 35.
So on this mission, we have around 3 kilograms of payloads on a 32 kilogram total mass hopper. However, we can build a hopper that's the exact same system, just larger, that would hold up to 8 kilograms of payload.
Okay. And if I can, just one other question for Maria. What's the selection process for the CLPS mission in terms, for example, for 2026-27, you said that you already decided where you want to go and which some of the payloads that are going to be present, but not the provider. So is it always the case? So you first choose the landing site and then the payloads and then the provider, or it's going to be all sometimes the other way around?
So this has been an evolution. As I said, initially you're talking about selection of the landing sites and just this whole thing. Okay, yes. So initially in the early CLPS, like the TO2s, the first astrobotic and the intuitive machines, mission 1, the payloads, the NASA sponsored payloads were selected, and then it was up to the vendor that usually to be landing site agnostic, those payloads. And so then it was up to the vendor to select the landing site. And if there were special criteria that had to be taken into, special criteria for the science objectives or for the payloads to operate and meet their goals, the vendor had to take those into account. But generally, as I said, they had to be location agnostic. And then as this has progressed, it's gone to NASA choosing where it wants to go, generally speaking, like say the Grathizon domes. And so then it was up to, and then the proposals were sent out, the PRISM proposals for folks to propose instrument suites specific for that landing site. So it kind of went through that process. And then it was selected where specifically they would put that landing ellipse. And then it was presented to the CLPS companies to propose to land there. So kind of a progression from a different approach.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
But one thing I would add to that is the CLPS vendors actually have the opportunity, if we are flying our own commercial mission, we could come to NASA CLPS and say, we have a mission in 2027 and we're going to the South Pole. Do you have anything that you'd like to fly? And one of the things that CLPS has said is that if we come and have a completely commercial mission and we have opportunities, we can do that. They may choose not to fly anything on our missions, but we could do that. So if what we look for from the commercial side is if I can fill a half of a mission up with somebody's payload that's paid for by some entity that's outside of NASA, and then I go ahead and create a mission, I might go to NASA and have them maybe they have some extra payloads that didn't get manifested on another CLPS mission that they could put on our mission or an astrobotics mission or a Firefly mission or a Draper mission or whoever.
Okay. So I think I encourage you to get in contact with the speakers for more detailed discussion.